everyone, good day. My name is Perry, and welcome to CDNetworks webinar, whereby our dialogue session today on web acceleration is key to online retailers, especially at this moment when most countries are still under lockdown, so our lives are basically limited to what we can do online. Hence, let's find out what is web acceleration. Aren't websites just websites? Why do you need acceleration? Perhaps just think of it like a booster that speeds up loading time. I'm quite sure everyone here has encountered slow loading sites. So slow that whenever you click on something, it takes forever to load and you eventually just abandon it because you've lost patience. Well, this is what your customers will do if that is what your website is. As we all know, websites these days are dynamically packed with multiple types of information, be it brochure attachments, high-res pictures, videos, forms, maps, online transactions, and e-payments, whereby all that instills some kind of fear if the page freezes after you have keyed in your credit card information, isn't it? So today we are very proud and very honored to have Mr. Choi, the Head of Business Development at SkyLab, as our guest speaker, and Mr. Daniel Ho, our Technical Consultant at CDNetworks Singapore, to join us in this session. SkyLab is our partner in delivering the best-in-class in web security solutions to a lot of business sectors, and travel is one of them. Ever since the pandemic struck, the travel industry has been badly affected to the extent that almost everything has come to a standstill. That includes airlines, hotel, car rental, attractions, and more. After this session, I would like to bring up a promotion that is dedicated to the travel industry to show our support. However, should you be interested in this promotion but do not fall under travel, that's fine too. Just let us know. Before we begin, at any point of time, you can write in your questions into the chat box. We'll answer it at the end of the presentation. But if we didn't get your question during the Q&A, we will email you our answer after the webinar. And before we begin, let's watch a video on web acceleration. Okay, thank you. I hope the video gives you some idea of user behavior and how website works. So let's begin our dialogue session this afternoon with Mr. Choi. Hi JD, it's great to have you here today. Can you give us an introduction about yourself and SkyLab's offerings?
Hi, Perry. Thanks for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is JD Choi. I'm from SkyLab. First of all, before I start, I wish to thank CDNetworks on sharing this time and allowing us to be together in this session. Now, if I introduce about SkyLab, SkyLab is currently noticed as one of the largest industrial IoT providers in Singapore. It's led by industry veterans in many business areas as written on the slide. Our projects go throughout all Asia countries, and our challenges are to have an end-to-end cloud ecosystem, also enabled by edge computing solution. Also together with data acceleration capabilities, we try to provide real-time data logistic services globally. Now, if you see in the next slide, next slide, please. Yes. Within this slide and next slide, you can see that SkyLab also has been noticed in the market as a very good IoT solution provider. Yes.
Wow, I can see a selfie with our Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong. Can you name some of SkyLab's accolades and which industries are your customers from?
Well, as I have introduced, airline and travel industry will be one of our engaging, but also telecommunications, governments, media, manufacture, energy, oil and gas, and more will be our engagements. Basically, every business sector that will be related to the needs of smart or a digital transformation will be our clients or a potential clients.
Can you tell us about the challenges that COVID-19 has impacted the travel industry?
Yes. Well, within this pandemic, I believe that the travel industry is amongst the hardest hit of impact. First of all, because of the virus, many countries and regions have imposed quarantines, entry bans, or other type of restrictions for citizens and also for travelers, meaning it is happening globally. For example, in Indonesia, starting from 24th of April, all passenger flights, except of course the emergency ones, were banned. And I've seen this kind of thing happening throughout most of the countries. Together from this, also there will be a reason about the decreased willingness to travel. This will be another reason for the impact in the travel industry. Now, since many people are still worried on random contacts during the travel, there will be less people willing to do so. Now, next slide, please. Yes, in this slide, you can see the impact of the pandemic on airline businesses. Here, it says that compared to year 2019, the revenues has fallen to almost half for some countries. I got this data during around April, and since now it's already end of May, I believe the impact and the damage will be even worse. Next slide, please. Yes, also if you see in this slide, you can see that it's happening same in the hotel businesses also. Within this situation, if I give you an example, I seen in one of our clients' website traffic, I seen that their monthly traffic has decreased below 10% of their normal traffic if I compare to last year's data.
So on the other hand, which industry soared in online activity?
Well, of course, online business, e-commerce business will be one of the rapidly growing businesses, of course. but also there will be many changes and shifts throughout businesses. To support these changes, such as performance or security solutions will be interested, but also work from home related solutions or solutions such as things that can help the pandemic situation will be few of the focused areas. Anyways, from all of this, one thing that I can clearly say is that due to this pandemic, now many companies are forced to start for a true digital transformation.
Yes, you're right. COVID-19 is now the driving force to digital transformation at tremendous speed. That so many businesses were caught off guard when work from home order was being enforced overnight. Hi, Daniel. Which industries have picked up from CDNetworks' perspective?
Hi, Perry and everyone. So just to respond to the question, so some of the major industries such as logistics, e-learning, and e-commerce will continue to grow, while tourism and travel-related websites will take a longer time to see that curve of improvement. Websites with rich media content will continue to drive and ramp up to draw eyeballs, and certainly interactivity remains key. Good user experience, less waiting time, video to load is some of the examples that will actually help companies to grow their websites back to the normal activities. Notably, the use of video, especially within the tourism industry, will continue to pick up in a post-pandemic world. For example, we are already seeing Australia Tourism Board ramping up on their ads that went viral via various video channels such as YouTube in April to generate interest to viewers to visit Australia in the post-pandemic situation. During and after this lockdown period, people will rely more and more digital avenues to get connected for work and for leisure, such as video calls and e-learning will continue to impose increasing usage that has already put an unusually enormous demand on the existing IT infrastructure. And of course, this will drive more and more business to explore platforms to help them to grow and scale without huge capex investment. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Daniel. Back to JD. Recently, one of your clients has started using our DWA. Why do they need DWA? And how important is that?
Yes, that is correct. Thanks to CDNetworks' help, they recently started using DWA. But first, let me start in general. The issue on needs of improvement of better digital experience, I believe, has been an issue, not because of the corona, but something that has already started even before. Now, from this slide, you can see the current digital status of Southeast Asia. You can see that out of the total population, how digital friendly the people are and how important it is for them to access websites or mobile apps on their daily basis. Within these high concentrated usage, here you will be able to see that e-commerce is also frequently used. This, of course, includes for purchasing flight tickets, hotels, or any related travel products as well. Now, through these slides, I believe that you will be able to understand that websites or mobile app is a very important tool to engage with customers. And if these services are not well delivered, meaning if the customers have a very bad experience, then it will directly impact the business in a very negative way. As I said, I believe that everyone will agree on the importance of the website and its performance level. How fast it shows the first page, or how fast the site fully loads, will be very critical. From research data, you will see that customers will not wait if the loading time of the website takes long. Also, the chance for them to revisit will be also very low. Now, within this graph you see in the bottom, you can see that the conversion rate shows about 31% when it takes less than a second on loading. But if the loading time starts taking more than 2 seconds, then the conversion will immediately drop to around 10%. This 20% difference, I believe, is going to be very huge. Also, if you see from this graph and this page, you can see that the customers if the customer have to wait more than 3 seconds, there's a high chance that they will just bounce and leave the site, and most likely not revisit. For last, I want to give you an example in this airline industry area. I believe everyone knows about Skytrax. Airlines and airports get measured of their overall services through this organization called Skytrax. Skytrax will certify airlines by rating them with stars. And now how many stars the airlines get will be very important on the businesses of the airlines. And if I share some of the factors that get measured for the rating, there will be things such as the loading speed of site and the first visual impact kind of things. As you can see here, I believe that Skytrax is clearly showing that they also believe these are something very important related on delivering the service to the customer. It is showing proof that the experience is not only from inside the airport or during the flight, but also will be about the first experience and the first engaging through the websites or mobile apps. Now, I believe that my client was also fully understanding and was aware of these kind of things, and that these were few of the many reasons for them to choose to use DWA, even during these pandemic situations. Also, in travel industry, there will be other things that my clients will be interested besides the performance improvements. And security will be one of those things, I believe. Throughout time, there has been many security breach issues in the travel and airline industry. I believe that any of you can just easily see some articles by Googling. So starting from this, basic security protection such as DDoS or web application firewall will be considered as a need. And also, from multiple sources, I heard that airlines have trouble with their conversion rate because of bad bots. Meaning that there seems to be a lot of traffic in their sites, but somehow it is not getting connected to the purchasing of a ticket. Now, from what I've heard, these bots make up around 44 to 45% of the traffic, meaning almost half of the web traffic would be fake for the airline. So because of this, bot defense also will be considered to these companies.
Oh, when you say bad bots with high traffic, do they also hack into the booking system and make fraudulent transactions, making air tickets?
Yes, it is possible. Let me try to give a bit more information about these bad bots, at least from what I know. Airline sites are used for flight data to be presented to customers. It will be things such as seat availability, pricing, the booking process, discounts, promotions, and much more recent. Some airlines use their own booking engine, but most of them will be using from third-party services. Now, these third parties, called online travel agencies, in short, OTAs, are channels designed to sell flights and process payments on behalf of the airline. Under a commercial agreement, OTAs can scrap flight data in exchange for fees. Now, within this structure, there will be few different types of groups that can possibly deploy bots against airlines. First would be unauthorized OTAs and unauthorized travel aggregators who try to avoid fees and scrap flight informations and fares. The problem for this will be that without approval, they will be holding seats while trying to resell them. And this might make the airlines lose the chance to really sell on time. Also, there can be something like competitor airlines trying to scrap flight data and fares to gain market intelligence and sometimes to hold seats, even to bother purchases maybe. There are also travel agent sites that will do such similar things as well, but let me stop here. Anyways, these bots will create false high traffic, and these might cause bad performance, which will not be good on the business, or increase the OPEX, or even airlines might miss their timeline to sell the tickets. So in conclusion, like our new client within the travel industry, even within this situation, I believe that still many people will be very concerned in their performance, and also, as I mentioned, in the security measure as well.
Thank you. Indeed, that's a very concerning issue what these bots can bring. Question to Daniel. Can you explain how DWA works and what security features can fight bots in unwarranted traffic?
Sure, Perry. So with the increased digital activities due to the lockdown, digital channel, in order to scale to meet the demand, just putting a web server in the data centers or hosting company with limited bandwidth will not be sufficient today to meet the increase of demand. DWA, with the security features that CDNetworks provide, helps companies with public and customer-facing websites to scale up or down as the demand goes up or down. It also builds resiliency to the IT infrastructure because DWA and the CDN acts as another layer of security and control for the company. Just to go into more technical in-depth, dynamic website acceleration, DWA, for websites that communicate frequently to the backend application and database to generate and present information. Examples of such dynamic websites are airline booking sites and e-commerce websites. How DWA is able to achieve that with the CDN is with our global footprint. So there are three main technical points, and also together with one that is more commonly being used today. The first one, TCP multiplexing. Both TCP and of course DNS are some of the fundamentals blocks of internet and how internet is being built around. What is TCP multiplexing? Internet is built on protocols such as TCP. Through DWA, TCP connections between your browsers and the web server is being established via handshake. So with a CDN in place, we are able to reuse that connections and establish with a longer period and session to allow more connections to be open. This will accelerate the page to load up faster and more efficiently, especially when your users are far away from your service. Second, DNS. As mentioned, DNS is the building block of how today internet and domain names are being controlled for the internet. CDNetworks utilize the DNS footprint and the DNS layer that is built on our global infrastructure to speed up around the world. And third, CDN together with our massive footprint, utilize efficient caching compression and algorithm to bypass the complexity of multiple networks they make up of the internet today. And last, SSL is one of the major requirements today for your website that is allowed for secure transaction from the browser to your web server. We can do is to offload your SSL front-end connections and sessions from your server to the CDN edge closest to your customers. That means now you can use the CDN to deliver secure and transaction from your web server and your payment for your customers on their browser today. So these are four of the main users of DWA and security. I'll talk about it slightly later. Next slide. Traditionally, to see more traffic from your website, as I mentioned, is to put in more resources such as network bandwidth and servers with more memory, but today it is not an efficient and cost-effective way to do that. Especially now, businesses transcend beyond geographical boundary to a global audience. CDNetworks with more than 1,500 points of presence, we call POPs, we enable your valuable websites and applications to engage our customers globally. So the question is, how will then DWA with the CDN help your business? We can increase the reliability and performance for your website to continue to operate despite the increase in traffic and demand. We have an enterprise customer who recently did a test with us, and the report showed how with CDNetworks has helped speed their booking site with at least 200% faster, especially in the region that they operate in. This means now they can sell more tickets and experience less downtime should their traffic increases. This report is generated from a third-party measuring tool called Catchpoint, and it shows a before and after with using DWA and without DWA. Thanks, Perry.
So during this downtime, what should businesses do?
So, we experienced the last 2 to 3 months of a lockdown. I think that it's a great time for the company, especially enterprise with regional office, re-strategize and restructure the approach. And how they, whether it's a traditional businesses or MNCs, or more so for travel and tourism related industry, to put back the digital resiliency on their online presence. Predominantly what I mean is the website and your application that allows your employee to work remotely. Solutions such as DWA, web security that we provide together with the CDN, DDoS mitigation, and last, secure SD-WAN with enable environment to accelerate access as well as experience for your employee working remotely and engaging your customers globally. Today, next slide. So today, security is probably one of the key considerations for any enterprise, especially so when we see significant cyber attacks happening. It has risked thousands of transactions and personal financial details being compromised. With one case in examples of the recent Capital One incident that would have prevented should appropriate security measures are deployed. Thanks, Perry.
Thank you, Daniel. So question to JD. Should businesses continue to spend on cybersecurity and web performance?
That's a very tricky question. I understand that this pandemic has brought a huge economical impact in the industry. But also, I believe that this does not mean that we will just shut down our businesses. Meaning that we shouldn't just try to reduce the expense and just lay low. Of course, we need to be careful, but still, I believe that we will need to prepare so that we can recover fast. So if I go back to your question, I still think that businesses should still consider, of course, and evaluate on using web performance and security solutions.
So what are the beliefs of SkyLab to continue to be a leader in the market?
Well, SkyLab truly believes that the IoT is really here. And of course, that is why SkyLab wishes to keep being the leader in the field. One thing we would focus is to connect people business together with the IoT by providing critical data solutions to enterprises in order to help them gain valuable insights. Our market-proven platform with our edge computing OS can effectively address challenges such as latency, security, and scalability. But besides that, others will be about our commitment and our collaborations. It will not just be only for technical matters, but also will go far beyond the sales and business development. I believe it is very important to gain the customer's trust. For us to gain this trust, we all try to show passion, commitment, and transparency. Also, another thing I always try to show is that we try to show that we are not here just to sell something, but to actually grow together, to create value and business potentials together, so that while our partners become better, we will also grow together within that. And these kind of things, I believe, will help us keep being strong in the market.
Thank you. Yes, indeed, gaining trust is very important, especially in handling data privacy. And now we have reached the time for Q&A. So please type in your questions into the chat box. If you have any questions for our speakers, Daniel and JD. Okay, here. We have a question for JD, I believe. As a business developer, what kind of service level do you expect of the vendor and is expected of you?
Thank you for the question. Well, first of all, of course, the best thing will be for nothing to go wrong. But if something does, then fast response will be very important. Clear and quick communication will be always the first and the most important thing. Also, the next thing will be to show how we are understanding the issue and the capability to solve it, no matter what the issues are. Thank you.
Thank you, JD. Do we have any more questions? Over here, we have for Daniel. Since COVID-19 has quickened all businesses to digitalization, which solutions can be easily adopted by online retailers in doing so? Daniel.
Thanks, Perry. So one of the key solutions that any enterprise can immediately see and use is DWA, with the security, of course. So why do I say that? It's as easy to change the DNS on for your domain name to switch the traffic to our service. It's just that. And you can always do it almost immediately without any downtime. So your go-to-market strategy and your speed to market will be there. And then the business will immediately see the impact of using CDN that will lead to a much more scalable and more secure and reliable solutions for your business in future.
Thank you, Daniel. Do you have more questions from the audience? Okay, we have one for JD. When do you think the travel industry will fully resume?
Very good question. To be honest, well, me personally, I would wish to take a vacation and travel immediately right now, this moment.
Yeah.
But anyways, if I answer your question, I believe that nobody has seen such crisis as this, meaning there will be only few handful people who really understand the situation. And amongst that, even more less on predicting on whatever it is. But if I share some information about the history of travel industry, one of the things that we can see very positively from previous crisis is that the travel industry was very resilient and that it has been rebounding back very quickly. For example, even you can see right now from the countries that are slowly starting to lift the lockdown, such as China or South Korea, you can see how quickly people are already trying to travel, at least inside the countries. Anyways, I believe the question for us will not be when, for us to start preparing for if. I believe that we will keep needing to study the changes, how the business is changing, so that we will be prepared on penetrating the market again once this pandemic is over. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? We have a quiet audience today. Okay, you can either drop your questions in the chat box or you can send it to our email address. So I will proceed further. So I would like to bring to you what CDNetworks solution in response to COVID-19. Sorry. So we are offering 3 months free access acceleration for remote access into third-party SaaS network. Please check out our website, or you can register in there and our consultant will get in touch with you. And then next, so we are giving an additional 3 months of DWA free to new signups if you are from the travel industry. But as I mentioned earlier, no worries. If you are interested in this offer, but not from the travel industry, just let us know. Type in a chat box or email us. And then next week on the 4th of June, we also have a security webinar coming up. It will be conducted by our head of security from Israel. So before we end, we'd like to thank you, our speakers, JD and Daniel, for coming together to do this webinar. Thank you all for your time as well. Now we'd like to collect some feedback by launching a poll. The presentation deck and recorded webinar will be sent to you, and you will be also available online. If you have any further questions, please leave your name and email address in the chat box. We'll get back to you. So we'll launch the poll now. Thanks again and take care.